Hitting
Yay.
what now, Stuart? What did you hit? What button? What shiny button of epicness?
Nothing.
Nothing? Oh, so we're just having a conversation, are we?
Yeah.
Let's talk about... I don't know. I don't know.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the... No, that's the wrong.
See, that was a contextual joke, so it's fine.
Yes. Okay.
Hi, everybody who's not here yet, because we just started. So who's going to first say hi? Who gets a cookie? A digital cookie. I should disclaim that really quickly. Ready? Ready? Everybody. Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
I don't see anybody in the chat yet. There we go. Yo, boys. Country Gents. Captain Jesse. Justin. Hey, guys.
He went very quickly from no one gets a cookie. Lots of cookie.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, hi, everybody. Hey,
Hello.
guys.
We are back. It's been a little while. We
make
did a
sh-
double live, didn't we, on Wednesday? I was draining. But we're back. It's a Tuesday, and we're doing another one tomorrow to talk about episode 4.
Yes.
The one where the B word dies for no reason.
Yes.
Except they decided right throughout the show.
Yes.
Spoilers next week.
Yes. And I just want to make sure everybody can hear us and see us. So let us know what's going on, because top of my screen up there still says offline. So even though we're getting chats, so let us know.
And I'm going to post.
So what type of cookie do we get? Well, I guess that means that they can hear us.
What's your favorite sort of cookie, Stuart?
Oh, that's tough. Probably just a moist chocolate chip.
Yeah, I like the brown double chocolate ones that are like a bit bigger, or triple or double. But yeah, they can either be a bit more solid and you get the crumbliness, and that's really nice, or gooey. Yeah, both are good in different times.
True. I do prefer the chewy though over the crunchy cookies.
You want like a fresh crunchy though, like it's designed to be crunchy, you know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And what's your opinion on waffles and tacos and cereal? Those are foods in Discovery, yes. Short number 2 Calypso. And it's Tuesday, Stuart. I mean, Cookie Tuesday.
Well, we got our first super chat from CJ O'Neill, $100. Cookie money, he says. So, well, it's actually $99.99. So
that's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow, that's...
Now I can go buy some nice, chewy cookies, and that's awesome. Chocolate Trekyards is what they called us. The chocolate Trekyards.
Stuart, we could do a cookie review show.
Yes.
Next time I fly to you, we'll just eat cookies and review them on Cookie Yards or chocolate cookie yards. Chocolate, that's so good.
Right.
All right. And we have special guests to join the Cookie Yards.
And today I'm wearing my disco shirt just to show how much you all think I hate Discovery.
I'm wearing my Colonial Marine shirt for everyone who thinks I hate aliens.
Right, because that's the thing.
Yeah. And just so Colonel Jack O'Neill knows, you should be promoted to General, but then not really, because you're better as a Colonel in the show. Stay Colonel, but thank you, that's incredibly generous.
But it's only O'Neill with one L, so it's the original O'Neill.
Do you know, I think I heard a story why the joke about the 2 L's, 1 L, the specific reason is because the movie Jack O'Neill was 2 L's.
Yes.
But they changed the name to 1 L, so that's like, not the movie one, 1 L. Never knew that until like a month ago.
Yeah.
It's a great meta joke. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, he's gonna.
Don't try and post. I'm talking to you.
He's gonna share some stuff, and we're gonna wait for a few more people to show up. So thank you very much for joining us for this pre-show ramble. Yay! I got 58 people showing as watching now, but of course that's always wrong on my end for some reason. But anyway, so thank you, Paul Gunn, Tony Floyd, Jill Wright, Adam Boots, Red Walrus, Tony Floyd, Reed Moore, and of course CJ O'Neill. Awesome. Who thought that the story for Calypso was hella out of place with the Discovery storyline? We'll get into that. We will get into that.
Nice thumbnail too.
Wow, that's something I threw together earlier. So thank you. Um,
For
yeah.
a one-man show, it's a good thumbnail because you really represent the man in the one-man show of it, which was good. Yeah.
Right? That's what I was going for. Not really.
Or I
I was
should have
just,
put like an Ed 209 like eyeball next to his face, like.
right? Or Hal 9000.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Oh,
That's what I meant.
yes. All right, so we got 74 people here. That's what they're saying in the chat anyway. So thank you very much, guys. And again, thanks for joining us. Like Samuel said earlier, tomorrow we will be doing another live, same time, talking about episode 4 of Discovery, which is The Butcher's Knife Cries Not for the Lamb, or something. I forget what it's called.
Or the security chief gets butchered, the episode.
And that makes me all kinds of happy. But we'll get into that tomorrow.
And we have 84 people, so I guess we can start the...
We will. So, my first thing about Calypso...
Because I haven't listened to a review, so I have no idea what you thought. I actually haven't listened to any other reviews of any other YouTubers out there, so I don't even know the public consensus of opinions on this short yet. I've been away this weekend and such, so I have no idea what people think.
Oh, Son of Red Shirt said in the chat the voice of Hal passed away yesterday. So sad that we just mentioned that. Canadian actor who helped found the Stratford Festival, who of course, the Stratford Festival is world renowned here. So, yes. Anyway, so that's sad. Of course, Sid Danley also passed away yesterday. So, again, that's a real bummer. I shouldn't have started on that. But anyway, Calypso. I am going to say that I enjoyed this immensely more than Runaway.
Okay.
And this, in my mind, is very well done. But it's not necessarily good Trek. It's just very good storytelling. But there's a reason for that as well, which we'll get into at some point, sure, as well. This stands on par... And I don't want people thinking I'm comparing it to these. I just wanted to explain a point. Like I said, this isn't really good Star Trek, but I think it was really well done. It's kind of like we're City on the Edge of Forever. Could have been anything. It's just awesome storytelling. It's a great story.
Could have been Quantum Leap.
Yeah, it didn't need to be Star Trek to be good, because you could take the Star Trek characters out of it and just have the story, and it's excellent. Same with Pale Moonlight. Just the like some of the best Trek. This kind of falls in that spot. And I don't want to see quotes that fully compared Calypso to the best of Star Trek, because that's not really the case. It's just better than Runaway.
Discovery.
It's up there, yeah. Yeah, it is. I was just going to say that. It's better than Runaway for sure, and it's probably some of the best Discovery storytelling we've had so far. But that being said, it does have a lot of its own issues. So... Before we move on, though, I just want to address another super chat. Jill Wright put in $5, so thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you.
The short was based on Cap's story of Calypso in the Odyssey. Yep, or Odysseus. Yes, we're going to get into that too. Why it's called Calypso and just the whole parallels with the actual Greek myth of Homer and the Odyssey.
I've not read up on any of this stuff, so I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, so what were your initial thoughts on it?
So we watched it with parents, girlfriend, together, sort of as a thing. So I thought it'd be nice. We knew the whole 1,000 years thing, and I was assuming it would be a crew member that was from the future. But the fact that he was a random person threw me off guard very quickly. I was basically, it's like an 18-minute piece, and by 16 minutes in, which is basically the ending, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then as it ends, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
what was the point in that? Which I'm not used to feeling. Because it sets some very interesting precedent. I'm sorry if it's all been discussed on other people's channels, but it's my first. I haven't talked about this yet to anybody actually. It sets a few interesting precedents of that the Discovery herself cannot be destroyed in the show or refitted.
Mm-hmm.
At least we didn't see the engines fully, but we did enough. So the Discovery will not be prime changed, it will not be fixed, whatever. We have now committed on this course, and it cannot be destroyed. So it takes away a lot of the tension. It can never be destroyed.
Unless it goes from 1,000 years in the future back in time to get reclaimed by the crew and then gets destroyed.
But then it would still have one linear time of history and then reset. There'd be a second timeline of itself.
No, it's not necessarily. It could be. Anyway, it's possible to bring it back.
Well, I mean, yeah, but to have it get to the point where it meets Calypso Man he has to live an entire lifetime to then go back. He has to actually go back. Obviously, although with him to be a part of the plot line of Discovery, he has to go back in time 1,000 years. So that'll be interesting.
Mhm.
No, that was interesting. Like I said, I thought it was a bit of a shame. We should have seen it refitted or changed. The fact that it was functioning for 1,000 years was kind of cool. But again, why, how, who?
Mm.
Just I don't know. And it was like you said, the fact that Star Trek sets don't feel like Star Trek sets was good, because that means you could have taken this out of context and shown this to anybody, any genre, and they know it was sci-fi, but they wouldn't think it was anything else. And it was a nice story, but it was super one-dimensional. But it was very, very well one-dimensionally done.
And it was, in my opinion, well written, well directed, and
Yep.
well acted. Like the
Oh, yeah.
actor in it's phenomenal. I want to see him come back. I don't know if he's going to.
Well, no, he's a new leader this season. That's the point of this short. He's one of the main characters.
Okay, well,
Recurring
that's
characters.
good to know. I wasn't sure about that because I'm like, I don't know how they're going to rectify that situation with him
That's
being
the whole weird
1,000
thing
years
about
in the
it.
future.
He's one of the leads. But yeah, it was nothing about it was a Star Trek something, but it was just good sci-fi. But then again, it was very simple. Like there wasn't even really a story. It was just he appears, has a bit of time chilling, so he chooses not to leave for a bit and then leaves. Like, it's a very lovely one-note thing.
Yeah.
And he acted supernaturally. I think that's where it wins. You didn't think he was acting at any moment. And even the AI was really good. Although it made me laugh, they used the AI storyline, because Continues did that a year ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, Continues did that. Good job.
Yeah.
You ripped off Continues. Not really ripped off, but Continues did it first.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I really like the AI voice. It's very nice to listen to. I could listen to her read whatever for hours. It's just a sexy voice.
You can see why she picked that voice.
Yeah.
Slash invented that voice.
Well, we got 2 super chats. Let's read those real quick. Thomas Potts throws in $1.99. I see you,
Thank
Potts.
you. Hi, Thomas.
Was Discovery Season 1 supposed to be on iTunes because it is? I would assume it's supposed to be there because a lot of people have been saying that for a few days. So it's available on iTunes, everybody.
That has been leaked.
If it was Season 2 on there, that'd be exciting. But and Fat Produce puts in $2.
3 months early.
Fat Produce puts in $2 as well, so thanks very much. It's funny that Discovery is run by Amazon Alexa. Well, yes, this is true. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. But as I said, it's not necessarily connected to anything Star Trek at this point. We're going to see how it ties in with the character and how he comes back and all that, and it'll be interesting to look back on it after the season's done and see how we feel about it. But it's good storytelling, good cinematography, a whole bunch of good things about it. It's just I don't know how it fits into Star Trek yet. So
it's a setup, and Jill writes, as well as Samuel think Craft will be a lead and will be the lead in season 2. I said it'll be one of the new actors. He's not going to be the lead. Burnham's the lead, but he's a new. And there is no lead as an ensemble cast. He's one of the new ensemble cast. That's why they've introduced him. I mean, it's a setup. But like I said to you before they came out, they can't actively tell us the important stuff in these shorts, because then those that can't watch them yet, when they watch season 2 and see him for the first time, they've got to reintroduce him, because non-US people cannot watch this short.
yeah.
But then again, they only care about their American money givers, because that's who they're giving money to. So it's kind of weird. And obviously you saw it on TV, and a nice fan sent me a copy, so thank you for that. So there are ways, obviously, but it's certainly a good setup. You at least get a sense of the man.
Oh, absolutely.
But it gives you more questions than answers. This short for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant to be 1,000 years post pre-TOS. So this is post Enterprise J, post 31st century, or in the 31st century. So this is post Temporal Cold War. So this is now the furthest canon is they have 2 humanoid races attacking each other and having a war that's been 10 years. Because if one has historical records of Betty Boo, that imply it's maybe a remnant of I don't know. It's weird. They've now set a precedent of there's a war between humanoid races that
Well,
I guess
colonies anyway.
yeah, colonies anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it is 1,000 years in the future. A lot can change.
Post temporal Cold War, because that's 31st century.
Yeah. I gotta say too, we got a lot of really great shots of the ship in this episode, which was fantastic. That opening shot where it cruises over Discovery, this escape pod. Which the escape pod? Did you recognize the voice of the escape pod?
No, but I know it's somebody.
Jonathan Frakes. Yeah. But that opening shot was really well done. I love seeing the ship. As you guys know, we're ship guys, and we kind of complained about lack of flybys and really well lit ship shots in season 1. So this one kind of brought some of those back, and I really thought that was fantastic. Chris Flores throws in $1. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you. And did you notice how there's a picture I sent specifically of Discovery used her phaser turrets to use as tractor beams? Just a small thing when the VFX department don't know what things do.
Well,
I mean, you might be able to reroute tractor emitter power into phaser ball power. See,
probably. I mean, she's had 1,000 years to work on it.
I know, but it's a bit of a simple thing of like, know where things go, guys.
Yeah.
But again, it's 1,000 years. Who the hell cares? I mean, the fact that I'm surprised the ship was so intact, had power, was still so functioning, because theoretically she need to keep a warp core on for 1,000 years. I mean, these ships aren't designed to last 1,000 years. The Enterprise was old at 50 or 60. 1,000 years, really.
Yeah. Well, so the ship tractors this escape pod on, and the thing that really confused me is how the hell did he get from the escape pod to sickbay? Because we know that, of course, they have holoemitters everywhere in Discovery for some reason, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I didn't know they were definitely tactile holograms, because you can see through them. Now. Well, they must be, unless there's some kind of automated thing that could pull him out of his and take him to sickbay. The one thing. That's the first thing in my mind that went, wait a minute, what? Because I thought there might still be somebody on board, kind of mysteriously lurking or whatever, that we don't see till the end, and of course that didn't pay off. So when you look back at it, I'm kind of confused.
Oh, I saw it as they just site to site beamed him.
That would make the most sense. Yeah. Because
we know they've got that ability, and I'm sure she's tinkered around her own systems for 1,000 years. Plus, it's the most advanced version of Discovery we've ever seen, because it's the latest in the timeline. So I didn't think that was a huge problem. Even to the point of using, internal radiation to melt the cockpit and then side beam mount and then beam drugs into a system. I mean, it's all future-y stuff. I mean, we saw how easily they made food and made clothing that's just made holograms. I mean, the future version of Discovery is everything so easy that we sort of get a sense of in the original Star Treks, but it's a bit more of a process. It was effortless and simple, but again, it's the most advanced version of Discovery, so it's kind of like, well, okay, this is a post-TOS version, despite not being refitted. That's the problem. Cheapest Trek we've ever had on purpose, which means they couldn't do clever things like update the ship because it was a post version. Use your noggin, because now you've again locked yourself into a corner of, well, okay, that's what it looks like forever. What a shame. I kind of expected never to see the outside, because then we'd be like, well, is it, how stable is it, how okay is it? Never did.
Yeah. But Chris Flores puts in another $2. This is what happened. This and what happens. Oh, this answer what happens. Second Spore drive in Canon. This answers what happens to the Spore drive in Canon. Yes. The ship gets displaced 1,000 years in the future. So yeah, it can make sense. They let themselves a good opening there.
Well, it waits 1,000 years in the future.
Yes.
Well, it waits 1,000 years. I mean, I like they do it being displaced. That would have been more interesting if they had jumped accidentally 1,000 years in the future and it had been like a week since Discovery. That would have been way more interesting. But you can have the AI then. Because imagine if there'd been one crew member alive that helped him, and it was, we spore drive accidentally, or with Stamets, I'm the last survivor, we can't jump back. Because I find it a bit odd that, you say the spore drive, this is where it went. Well, no, you have the technology, you have the knowledge, you have the ship schematics, and the spore drive can be replicated from again and again and again and again, and we have an asteroid with spores on it, so the spore drive is never gone. You built 3 ships, 2 which are spore drive technology. It's not a difficult thing to build. You just build more. Okay, Stamets can't use it, but guess what? The injection was relatively flawless on him. So, Spore drive tech, super easy to do at this point.
Yeah, Thomas Herog in the chat puts at Trekyards. Did you see what I posted? Michael Chabon confirmed that V Drash is this. Yeah, for Federation. Interesting. I gotta say
too, it
too.
would be something cheeky like that.
Yeah, and I gotta say too, I'm glad you included this one still that I have of the her scanning the tattoo and the owl. I missed that the couple times I watched it. I don't know why, but yeah, when she mentions the tattoo, and that's where she could identify what colony he's from, because it's the only place that has that. I'd never seen this still before, so that's awesome.
The Cyclops owl.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will say this short probably some of the best cinematography of Discovery, but it's very much just because the lighting they anti-lit it. You know. I mean, some beautiful pieces, but it's beautiful pieces that is so not what Trek is normally, which is light, bright, positive, friendly. This is, it's not negative. They were very careful. The vibe is never dark, depressing, which it could have been, because he's lost everything. No, it's more just isolation, closed, compressed, but hopeful. So that was an interesting tonal thing. It wasn't a classic Discovery episode. It was, you know, even when he couldn't go home, although he gave up very easily, he didn't lose hope. They just had food for a day, 10 days, I don't know. She made him dinner 50 times until she fell in love with him for a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's funny because, again, too, I don't know why I missed it the first time, but I was like, why didn't you just go to the shuttle bay and check out the shuttles? But then they mentioned it on the bridge where they had just received a brand new Warp 1 shuttle, or warp-capable shuttle, and they hadn't tested it yet, so she didn't want to send him off in it. I for some reason I missed that the first time. I'm glad I rewatched it, but yeah. Still,
Normally,
I would have tried to do that earlier. Maybe take it for short test runs around the ship, because I don't know how long he was there either. They never clarified that. Was it 7 days? Was it a month? Was it, you know, it was at least a week.
it was enough to learn to dance.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a couple months, but there's no real time frame. So
he didn't grow facial hair. That would have been a useful sign. You know, there was no indicators beyond several meals, so it could have been a week. But if this is 1,000 years in the future, then technology advances. Okay, yes, you can go back a step with wars, force you to be more limited. But if there's a shuttle on the shuttle bay, first of all, you wouldn't give a non-tested, not working shuttle to the most advanced ship in the fleet.
True.
You'd give them a working shuttle, first of all, and then everyone else left with all the other shuttles. So I guess it was an evacuation. It wasn't just a leaving; it was an evacuation. But this shuttle was too broken; they couldn't fix it to leave. Okay, fine, that's weird. But it's not damaged; it's just not tested. Okay, fine, whatever. But if this shuttle is 1,000 years old, okay, that's probably not going to work. We'll say that probably shouldn't work at all. You know, things rust and stuff. But he should be able to fix it because he's got 1,000 years more knowledge than this. This is antiquated. That said, if we went back and tried to fix the Wright brothers plane, I don't think either of us could, you know, or the first car, probably couldn't. It's too retro. But you would think he would understand warp field enough to be able to fix it. You know, but we didn't ever get a sense of he was attempting to fix it, and yet they did just fix it. So there was a weird disconnect of, I'm just going to give up.
Well,
look, it's fixed now.
Well, Philip in the chat gives a good point. He was under the impression that she didn't want him to leave because she was been alone for 1,000 years, so that's why she implied the shuttle was inoperable, which makes perfect sense, and that kind of ties in with the whole original Odyssey storyline, where, I mean, Odysseus was on this island for 7 years before, you know, he got his suit of gold and took off or whatever. But no amount of time. We don't know how much time has passed here, unfortunately. But it was just interesting that the tie-ins with the original Odyssey are very blatant, right down to the Cyclops aspect, the Cyclops owl, and also the AI itself has the single eye kind of thing. Because there was a Cyclops in that story. I don't know if you know the story very well, but
not enough. So you think it was that she was just lying to him about the shuttle? The shuttle was fine the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I
Which
didn't
would
get
make
that
sense.
impression.
Not everybody's an engineer, you know, and not everybody could go, oh, well, I've inspected it, it looks fine.
Yeah, but it's weird that he wouldn't try. There's not enough time, but you should have had. They had time for little montages. They could have just shown him, testing out. But if she was lying to him, then why did the Discovery crew leave one working shuttle on an empty ship? Again, there's no reason. We don't know why they left, why they didn't come back, why any of the things.
Yeah,
Were the escape pods there? Were they not? Is there enough antimatter to go to warp? What state was the ship in? Who knows? Hmm.
well, that kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Like I said, I really enjoyed this as a standalone piece, but it opened up so many questions that I was hoping for the answers for by the end, and didn't get any of them. Not even a hint as to why the crew left. Just that the ship was ordered to wait for them.
Yeah. In Federation space and didn't get seen in. Do you realize how many things TNG picked up on over a couple of hundred years that people sent out into the wide
Well,
world?
it's got an AI, so it can keep it. It can scan with its sensors and move out of the way of stuff and keep hidden.
But was that his mission though? Was to stay hidden? It didn't say that. It said just
No, it
stay here
didn't.
and wait for the crew.
Yeah.
Who knows if a Vadoir ship is actually carrying.
Maybe they were
Numbers.
looking for the ship, and it's like trying to evade them, and they never found it. So just 1,000 years later, they're all dead, and we never found the ship.
That collie looks so different to what I'm used to in my databags. It looks so smooth and clean. It can't be my crew.
Yeah.
Different universe. Must be a different universe.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There's lots of questions, but by the end of it, you realize you don't care about the answers as well because it doesn't. It's an episode that doesn't mean anything except to introduce this man and the idea this ship can evolve, and be fine. I still find that for a ship to survive 1,000 years completely. It's only a smidge dusty as well.
Yeah, because
It's total.
we've seen ships in TNG and stuff that have been abandoned for a few years, and they're not working. They're super dusty.
Discovery is older and less advanced than all of those put together.
But those ones didn't have an advanced AI, which has been evolving for 1,000 years.
But this didn't have that, I would assume, until at least over half that time. You can't. I doubt the thing evolved its AI in 200 years. It would probably take longer than that. So you know what I mean. So but then it could have sponsored by PST.
PST.
I mean, so okay, fine. So you could say it fixed itself as it got more advanced. But at what point do you not have resources to fix yourself? That's one of those classic things of, well, they didn't think about that. They just said, oh, it's fine. It would have been nice to have seen it like, sorry, Craft, the engines don't work. Sorry, Craft, we haven't got pressure to decks 2 to 7. I've run out of components. You know what I mean? Give it more, because I was thinking this would be similar to the Atlantis episode, The Last Man, which was an excellent episode where John Shepard gets accidentally wormholed to the future, where Atlantis, the Odyssey of Atlantis, is still on the planet it was on, but the ocean has dried up. It's been that long. That's instant visual. It's been that long, and the city is still working as much as redundancies are keeping things okay on. But there's broken things, there's damaged things, there's parts of the city that have been just this is no longer functioning. You got a real sense of all this stuff's advanced these thousands of years, but it's not where it should be. And that had protocols to self-preserve as well. So but it's one of those, again, it's meant to be a cheap short, but it gave us these big implications, because again, if these are now Trek canon things, these potentially give some grander questions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that was dissatisfied me, is the amount of questions I was left with. Which some of them might be addressed in season 2, but we'll see. We got next.
Also, how can they be fully, because if this short isn't required watching, because it won't be viewed by anyone outside of the US who already paid for CBS All Access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tab Extra puts in a donation. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Stored in a vacuum or a stasis field? Question mark.
The ship?
Yeah, don't know. I don't know. Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Thank you, Joseph.
I'd like to see a Mirror Universe Calypso horror story. Yeah, and the first couple minutes of this is something that actually Anti-Trekker had said when he first watched it. He was really into it for the first couple minutes because he had a kind of a horror element, a horror aspect. Something was watching this guy, but that kind of faded away. But yeah, having it being a horror story would have been really kind of neat. I'm glad it went the way it did personally, but I can see how somebody might be, looking forward to something like that with the first couple minutes of this. But I thought it flowed together beautifully. But yeah, the horror aspect, what has been mentioned a few times actually, that would have been very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the more positive outlook. If it was just another, because how can you? It's like the last episode. It tried to half it with half horror baddie villain, then jokey funny, and then super sci-fi. And by spreading it out so thinly, none of them worked. This one, it was so one-dimensional, but it really hit that nail on the head. You can tell this was a non-Discovery. Well, I'm going to guess this was not one of the original writing staff of Discovery, because this was better written than most of Discovery.
This is his first writing for Star Trek.
What did I just say, Stuart? You can tell.
Yeah,
probably different director as well, but that could be the same one. I knew that.
The story's by Sean Cochran and Michael Chabon, and it was directed by Oltunde Usinami.
Okay.
All names I've never heard before, but yeah.
Is that a newcomer, do you think?
I think so. I mean,
I'm gonna have a.
Yeah, it was very well done. All aspects of it, I really did enjoy it. I just wish we would have got some answers or see how it. And again, like I said, looking back at this at the end of the season or at the end of Discovery, it might fall perfectly into place with what's established later and make a lot more sense.
Oh no, he did direct 2 other episodes. He actually directed the one we're looking at next, The Butcher's Knife,
which is the Saru short trek.
No, the full episodes.
Oh, the episode 4. Gotcha.
The one we're about to watch. So that's kind of cool to know that in advance. And then he also directed what's past his prologue, which is the less good, the one where it becomes Trump at the end. But also a dark episode in terms of lighting, so I can see his lighting cues.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see that next episode as well, when on the Shinjo, how darkly lit that is. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess the writer was Homer. It was written like a couple 1,000 years ago, but he didn't be writing for Star Trek at the time. Or Tab Extra puts in another 10 NOK. I don't know what that is. It's
Norwegian, I think.
Oh, well, thank you very much. But no comment for this one. So
Norwegian krona. That's about £1.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And we did get, and John Harrison as well, Stuart.
What's that?
John Harrison as well. £5. A moment ago.
Oh, did I miss one? Oh, where is the Discovery in this universe at this point? Then your guess is as good as ours. It's one of those unanswered questions. Like, how could it sit somewhere for 1,000 years and not be discovered, even by Ferengi, salvagers? It could be that it's not even. I was going to say it could be not even in our sector of space, but she knows enough about the colonies to know where he came from. Therefore, she's either been collecting data during 1,000 years as her sensors maybe expand, or maybe she's scanned passing ships. I don't know. Or she had the knowledge before this all started.
So he's from Le Corps 4. I wrote it down. That's probably that's my own little note there. But she said she knew the animals from that planet, so it's been explored, but there was no human colonies there. He said there's a few of us less now. So it's in explored space? That could, to be fair. Well, no, but by Discovery timeline, there is no Gamma Quadrant, there is no Delta Quadrant, there is no Beta Quadrant.
But
they wouldn't know. I mean, they wouldn't know the Klingons' second favorite hunting grounds, favorite animal. You know what I mean? So it's in the Alpha Quadrant for sure. It's in Federation. Then again, this is Discovery right at the end of its time. What if the Discovery that left, what if the crew was like in TNG time? What if the ship actually survived until TNG, and then you could extend Beta Quadrant as well? I don't know. Again, weird questions. Because it says, will now we have a point in the end of season 2 when they abandon Discovery? Is that going to be a plot point, or is this never going to be mentioned again? And when Discovery gets cancelled, we're just going to say, oh, and the ship then was abandoned at one point for some reason, and then found at some point for some reason, and then lost at some point for some reason. Great.
Maybe
Brian Fuller wanted that, didn't he?
maybe they installed this primitive AI and then said, well, this is not really working out so good. You know what we're going to do? We're going to let this ship sit here for 1,000 years, then time travel to the future tomorrow, because we can do that tomorrow, and time travel to the future so the AI is evolved, and then bring it back in time with us. No, I don't know.
Gonna go back in time.
Just,
you're right.
Andrew Steele throws in $2 as well, so thank you very much,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
But yeah.
Oh, no problem. But thanks, Andrew. Well, no, you're right. Why isn't there a subroutine in these systems? Because it'll be post-Kirk at this point. We can assume why not. And it can just say, right, Discovery, when you reach sentience in 1,000 years, just do a quick little time jump around the sun. Meet us back on Thursday. You'll take a long road.
No, Tuesday.
We'll go the short.
Everything comes in on Tuesday. Even
Everything
Discovery.
good. Everything good. And then it'll do. And then so we'll see season 2. We'll say, Burnham just says, "I've got a plan. We'll leave Discovery here," and there it is. What? And it's like, "Hello, I'm Discovery. Here's my face. I can hologram the bridge flawlessly."
Yeah. Speaking of, we should probably get to that part of the story. The bridge is covered in dust. You see him wipe off some dust on the captain's chair, which there doesn't seem to be dust anywhere else.
There's also not very much dust. I mean, it's a visual thing, even though you would think she would just, not have the ship. She'd been in a vacuum and blah, 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 whatever. Because it's easy not to allow dust. You just don't allow dust.
Yeah. Now, he was from the Alcor system, right? Or why were they showing the Alcor system on the screen?
Yep, that's his home planet. Yeah, and they're in shuttle range, just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, of course, the ship won't go there because it was ordered to stay put.
Mm-hmm.
So, because she could have just zipped him over there and then zipped back. It's not like in the 2 days that it takes that they would come looking for her. That would be her luck, though. Oh, this is where Discovery's supposed. Oh, it's gone. Damn. All right. Well, we're going to stick around for a day. And just as they leave, it comes back.
Yeah. It's interesting that she's so determined to stay, because you would assume that given 1,000 years of development, with an intelligence enough to make very specific references, intimate acts, growth, because she didn't love him when he was on the ship, she grew into that. So there's, it's altering behavior. Although I guess she's been maybe a loop since she evolved. There's the only time she's broken that loop, which is something new, some new stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think at one point she'd be okay to say, well, I'll just leave a buoy here. That'll be enough, and I'll go back to Earth. Just or does she have the full mission of why she was left? They didn't seem to think so.
See, that's one of the unanswered questions. I mean, it could be a specific reason that it's ordered to stay in this spot until they get back. So,
but they never did.
Or they haven't yet. There could be something that I don't know. Maybe season 2 starts. They do the Enterprise thing, and then something happens. They get pulled into the future. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to rectify this 1,000 years in the future, and bringing this character back after he already left to go reunite with his wife and son.
Unless they're dead
daughter.
in the war.
Yeah.
Because 10-year war.
Yep. They could very well be. And I think that's probably the case for him coming back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they were really smart, which they're not. We've seen it, they're not. We've seen it, they're not.
Yeah.
They could easily use the Temporal Cold War, which now is set 31st century, because the point is, the relativity time cops, they're not going anywhere. They don't suddenly die off because we're in the future. They're out of time. So even in the 31st century, they still exist in the 29th century, visiting the 31st century. The Daniels guys still exist in the 31st century, and the 21st, and the 23rd, and the 27th. So it's non-temporal. Those police have been patrolling time since we reached that point in time. So whatever is now in the 31st century, they're still watching it. And I doubt they've allowed, if it's natural course of events, but I doubt the time agency would allow the Federation to die. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just natural course of events. Federation have died. I'm sure they would be at that point working to stop the death of the Federation, because they would know So I doubt there's no Federation at this point. So the Temporal Cold War is still a thing, although as you did get solved in Archer's time, but you still have the initial Temporal Cold War people. It'd basically be interesting if a Temporal Cold War person sent him back. Like, if they met with a group from the Temporal Cold War, linked into Enterprise, you'd get them to link into that possible conundrum, and it explains more of the changes, and That's clever, You've invented this right at that point in the time.
Mm-hmm.
You could use it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, as you said, they're not smart. They can definitely do that. That's all been established. It's all there. It's all ready to be used if it's done correctly. And yes, that was my hope for Enterprise, that they would eventually use the Temporal Cold War and all that to explain a lot of the things, which they didn't. They kind of stumbled and dropped the ball at the end there.
Yeah, but nothing as egregious as Discovery stuff.
No. And you're right. There's a possibility that it can be used to fix things, and that is something I would hope for.
Oh.
But will they do it? Yeah, I don't have much faith in that. No.
I just mean as the way of sending him back.
Yeah,
he's part of this temporal thing. Because I would assume because if these angel creatures were part of the Temporal Cold War as well, that would be an interesting link between multiple iterations of Trek, and still be fine, and still be not necessarily original, but it would allow you to do new things, like the last remnants of that.
Yeah.
And then he gets sent back, and he's dealt with them in the future, and he's their foe.
Samuel, there is a super chat question for you, so if you want to read that out.
Joseph Patrick, hello. Commander, as a filmmaker limited by the CBS rules, guidelines, don't you think time was wasted that could have been better used? Use a better story with no actual restrictions. Well, I mean, it's like if you only have 4 chances to make 4 shorts for CBS, what 4 stories do you pick? This teeny one with Tilly, which is meant to grow her character, and go a massive plot thing about dilithium, which would normally be an entire TNG episode, or Voyager episode, or DS9 episode.
Yeah.
And now we have to it's never mentioned again, and it destroys part of the universe, but who cares? And then this thing, again, this teeny episode that doesn't add to the universe whatsoever, unless it really does. And then, okay, we like Saru, that's at least a relevant one, his backstory one. That'll at least be something. And in Mud, it'll be whatever. There's certainly better stories you could do, but they were thinking more, what money have we got? What sets have we got? We rarely shoot in the mess hall. Let's put everything in the mess hall. That's what it was, But then again, this was a great little piece of sci-fi. It wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't like A-star, but it was good. It was fun. It was probably the 2nd best Discovery piece they've ever done. 3rd best? Because it wasn't Discovery. It was just good filmmaking, good script, good lighting, good directing. Didn't care about canon, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if it wasn't Star Trek or Discovery, it would have been perfect. But
again, still a bit simple. Although a good prequel to lead up to a better story. If this was if this had been the first, imagine if this had been the very first prequel vignette released by Discovery, before season 1. We're all like, the hell? This is weird.
Yeah. That'd
be a hell of a setup. If this was the Comic-Con trailer, a 20-minute trailer, that would have been cool.
Yeah. John Harrison puts in £5, so thank you very much.
John, man, thank you.
Also, the Klingons could have been bald for a holiday instead of what the guy said about it being for a war, as we have never seen that before. Yes, they were celebrating. They do it it's every 10 years. They do it for one whole year, where they just go bald for a year. Cinco de Calis Day. I don't know.
Oh, we know what it is. Is it? Yeah, actually. Do you have Kiddish?
Yes. Yeah. And then my next question is, why is he sleeping in a hammock in the transporter room? There's many quarters around with comfy beds, and it's just something that struck me as odd. And he's got slippers, little fuzzy slippers.
I thought that was cute.
I did too, but I didn't understand the purpose of it. Was he hoping to beam out quickly if he needs to? I don't know.
Well, I mean, my assumption is because he was on the front line, maybe he just hated being on beds because blah blah. Because he did say, he's a humanoid, can be fixed by human healing technology. That's important. They fixed his scars, which either they didn't do in his time or he didn't choose to do. What?
I'm just laughing at a comment. Captain Ron Phillips in the chat says, that would explain why Worf has less hair in TNG Season 1. because the year before that he was bald and he was just growing it back. Beautiful.
And Krug was midway as well.
Yes.
Or Maltz, the guy who had the big ass forehead. But
that's a 5.
Chang,
that's a 5 or a 6 head.
But Chang got special dispensation from his mum to keep that practice up a few more years.
Yes.
He really liked it. Yeah, no. The hammock, that was fun. The hammock, because he's not necessarily human, which is good. Humanoid. Although if they might say human colony, it was kind of a strange one if it was or wasn't, because he said in my customs we don't use our real name, so he's obviously not a standardized Earth human, which was a thing. So I'm guessing hammocks is a thing on their planet, because why not?
Yeah.
No, Worf sleeps on no pillows. I mean, it's a cultural thing as a we don't do this or this. So he's just like, I sleep on hammocks, which I had to make out of a bed sheet. It was the bed I found.
Well, the similarities with the Odyssey, like I said, are numerous.
Well, why don't you explain that? We'll go into that now.
I'll read this brief little article on it.
Okay.
The first clue to the Greek influence is the title itself. Calypso is the name of an immortal nymph cursed to live forever on the island of Ugigia. Yeah, I can't say it. Whatever. Where every 1,000 years, a mortal she is fated to fall in love with would wash up on shore, stay with her for a time, and then leave her behind. Most famously, she fell in love with Odysseus and held him on her island for 7 years. Craft's name is also a reference to Odysseus, who was described as being crafty for his cunning. Odysseus outwitted the Cyclops by refusing to give his name, saying instead, "My name is Nobody." There are many more parallels between Star Trek Short episode and the Greek mythology, even down to Craft's final golden flight suit as a stand-in for the golden fleece sought by Jason and the Argonauts.
I did think that was odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they also tie in the 1950s movie Funny Face, Calypso, or not Calypso, sorry, Discovery. The AI names the shuttle Funny Face as a send-off, which, yeah. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting. So very, very parallel. So was he the first one that washed upon her shore?
Well, if she's only been there 1,000 years, yes, because every 1,000 years it happens. So maybe.
What if the last person wiped her memory to their 2,000 years? That's how he escaped, or she escaped.
That's very clever. Maybe it has been there for 2,000 years, and the computer doesn't even know it.
Yep. That's the thing. It's a piece that is so removed from the universe. It's like if you set a show on the Enterprise F, it would be only Star Trek in basist traits only. You couldn't link anything to anything because it'd be so removed. You'd assume the Andorians would evolve at that point, to look a bit different, or genetic modification, something. Something. I don't know.
And a lot of people have drawn parallels too with Boa Trek. Here said it in the comments. They should have called it Her Too, to the movie Her, where the guy falls in love with his phone, basically, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard is really good, and I do mean to get around to see that at some point. But yeah, it's one of the first things I thought when I watched this one too, that it was very similar as far as premise goes. So. He said his name was... Oh. Wow. Sorry, the chat just jumped real quick.
Well, if you set Enterprise F, the Captain be Andorian. No, Stowe is not canon, it's just licensed. That's important.
I wish I could watch Short Treks here in Germany. Yeah, it sucks that people can't watch the damn things.
Well, they're not impossible to find. So, I was sent one.
We don't encourage any illegal downloading or anything, but I mean, there are ways. So anyway, then this is one of the big plot points too, is this whole movie with Frank Sinatra and the dancing. And here we see 3D holographic environment replicated on the bridge, because there's a lot of holograph projectors there because of their holographic communications. And it's actually, I kind of like this because it's not holodeck-esque technology. You can see the things behind it. It's not as advanced. And I got the feeling there was no actual tactile contact. Even when they danced, I'm wondering if the reason he practiced so much was to get the moves perfect so that she could just stay with him. Although it did look like their hands touched, and he almost kissed her.
Well, the problem with that scene is that it is just two actors dancing. So there is physical contact being made to make the dancing work.
Yeah.
So they can't digitally remove the sense of them touching for the scene to work. So there is tactile because they're actually tactiling, and I don't think she could... there's too many things that happen for not to be tactile. But again,
it's not Frank Sinatra. Sorry, it's not. You're right. It's Sorry, keep talking. I'm just trying to think who it is.
It's, I mean, that's super implied, but again, it's just the nature of the scene as it was shot.
Fred Astaire. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't not feel that advance the technology over time to make it hard light. I mean, why? I mean, if she had 1,000 years to get smarter, there was from Red Dwarf they had a bit where Holly the computer gets smarter, and then can do all these cool advanced things. So with intelligence and just knowing how things work, you can, I guess, re-engineer. But yeah, I do like the fact that they have to project it from projectors, but it still felt a bit too advanced. Like, why not take them just to the holodeck room? You have the set built, at least, and it's in that room. I mean, it's cooler to be on the bridge, especially for that end shot. But
not everybody might remember that. You got to clarify that in Discovery there is a training simulation once Ash Tyler comes aboard. One of the first things he does is train with Lorca in like a holodeck shooting range kind of environment,
which they try so hard to justify when that episode came out. Oh, it's not as powerful as a holodeck for this and this, and we're like, yeah, but you basically made a holodeck. You could have made it shittier if you wanted it to be not a holodeck. You made it really good on purpose, guys. Come on, don't play with us like that, you silly people.
Yeah. And another thing I like too is the whole the Discovery popcorn buckets. I kind of want one. I kind of like them, the black and gray popcorn bucket. I'm sorry, I just had to point that out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No. A grid cube. If the ship can create internal dampeners that keep people from falling over, or the ship can create fields to simulate
force fields,
touch. I mean, there's no reason why it couldn't. We're just using precedents of other Trek.
And that's how the holodeck. That's how the holodeck works. It uses force fields and things to simulate that. So yeah, but
we just if you can touch holograms and TOS, then why wouldn't you build a holodeck and blah, blah, blah. They're creating problems themselves. They just don't care. They've stopped caring. I mean, I don't think they ever cared. Brian certainly didn't care. He was rebooting it. He was rebooting it on his own terms, and just not letting the audience, not letting the studios tell us that he was. But common sense. I do like the fact that the chair is on top of the hologram, though. Little projection.
Yeah. It could be too. It looks that way because it's taken from an old 3 or 2D movie, and it's not a full integrated holodeck thing. I'm not trying to justify like advanced tech in this period at all, but just trying to point out something that people might say in the comments about a 2-dimensional movie from the 50s being turned into 3D. Liam Hodgetts puts in £5. Thank you very much, Liam.
Thank you. Much obliged.
Fan rewrite for Calypso. Disco bounces across time. Crew split into 2 groups. 1,000 years later, it's their descendants are fighting against each other. Thoughts? Wow.
It's very similar to...
Maybe this is Burnham's like great grandson. It's interesting, but I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I mean that's similar to an episode of Star Trek Universe, to an episode of DS9
Enterprise.
When the ship. I mean, these sorts of time things are great. I love them. But at what point? Then you ask the question why. In Stargate Universe, one of the best bit is when the crew goes back in time, form a colony, and then they meet the descendants of their own colony when they don't go back in time because they, and so it's great. You jump and skip and you get this really cool advanced tech. I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, who's to say? Again, okay. Let's jump back a step.
Hold on. Before you do that, 90 Lancaster says there isn't enough humans on the ship to make a viable breeding colony population. I disagree, because in Deep Space Nine, when the Defiant crashed, that's a much smaller crew, and they diversified. They had, sure, it was still a small colony, but enough to make, there's enough genetic...
and aliens.
Yeah, differences there, so you're not inbreeding necessarily. So yeah, I don't buy that at all, especially for Discovery.
And I guarantee with advanced technology, you could just genetically alter a child to allow them to be more different. You know what I mean? They take a drug and say, right, we are now more genetically you could do things to allow whatever.
Here, sister, take this pill. There we go. Now we can... Never mind.
So, okay. Let's jump back a step and be more... Because they were being vague about some things. Which is good.
Think?
Yeah. So, stay there was the command. Which captain? When? She didn't give a date of the timeline. She didn't give a date as to when they said to stop. So that 1,000 years could be from any point.
That's all I wanted. Something like that, saying, "My order is to stay here." Captain Tilly made it very important. That would have been really cool, because I want to be a captain, says Tilly.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
Just a little hint like that. That's what I was looking for at the end of that. I was hoping for something, and I didn't get it. But yes.
And then, it can't be too far, because all the tech is identical. So there's no refit, which means it's not TOS era refit. It's not TMP era refit. It's not Phase 2 era refit if that was ever canon. So we know at least they didn't get to TMP. The Discovery did not get to TMP era. We know that for a fact based on that. Although they're going to retcon that and never existed. Well, fine, because they don't care. But okay, so say then that at some point in Season 2 they do Spore drive into the future anyway. Shit. Then they go out and come back to Discovery, and like Pill said, make future versions of themselves, like make descendants themselves, and then Discovery waits for a while, and so the descendants are fighting or whatever. Although they're not in a separate universe or a separate galaxy like Stargate Universe, so that doesn't make sense either.
Yeah,
and they'd just be stealing other people's stories.
Anyway, so after this dance, he does something nice for the computer. She's been alone for 1,000 years. Learns this dance for her, and yeah, basically he almost kisses her at the end because he's starting to fall in love with her, which makes me think that quite a bit of time has passed. That and the mess hall scene where you see him in the mess hall quite a bit. Multiple iterations of him, like doing things. So where was I going with this? Oh, yes. So he almost kisses her, realizes that he has to leave. He still loves his wife. And that's when she decides to reciprocate the nice thing he did by letting him take the shuttle, finally, and being able to leave. I just want to kind of wrap all that up. So,
is the kissing in the dance, is that actually in the movie?
I believe so. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, and I didn't see it in this short, necessarily.
Because then you wouldn't... Okay, you'll have that moment, but it's in it. So, I don't know. It's weird to think he would fall in love with her because, okay, she's his guardian.
I would. She's got a sexy voice. I'm sorry, but I love it.
But it's like your Alexa or your iPhone. You use it every day.
I love my
You
iPhone.
wouldn't... Yeah, but I think it's still a bit of a... To fall in love with your ship. You can use it as a story point, but I don't think... If he was there... Oh, nice. If he was there for like 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, but...
Kirk loved his ship. It saved his ass a few times because he loved his ship more than anything else.
I know, but very, very different love, Stuart.
I hear you. I really do.
He didn't go pokey.
How do you know? How do you know?
Well, okay.
There's a lot of things on that ship that go nowhere and do nothing. So what are those for?
Is that why we were never allowed to see the recreation room? Because in Kirk's Enterprise recreation room, it was just a sex dungeon for him in the Enterprise that he would always have locked, and he had the door holographed closed.
Yeah, he's the only one that knew about it on the Enterprise. That's why we never see it. Yes.
Yep. He was just sitting there, all his off time.
Except for that one episode of TAS where they had to use it or something. I don't know.
Well, that was actually the holodeck. He was like, God damn it, replacing it. No. But I still felt him for. Well, again, but timeline was a bit weird on that one, and how long it'd been, how much you could feel for that. Like, I didn't. the sense I got was that she wasn't hiding from him that it was broken, that it was actually broken, they had to fix it, but she might have, once she thought about how to fix it, because there's never a reason to fix it until you need to fix it. Once they determined, that's how I took that. I didn't think she was tricking him personally. I didn't get that, because she seemed so genuine throughout the whole thing. And then they got a bit close, but at that point it was more I can't stay in this fantasy. I can't stay here. This is sustaining me, but we've got to just fix that shuttle. I can't just stay. Even if it doesn't work, I've got to try. That's how I took it. I didn't take it as, I love you now, computer. You're my only love. Or, she probably obviously she cried and liked him. That's because the first person she's spoken to 1,000 years, and that's fine. But to him, love her.
I think it was a little bit of both. There was that connection that he's made with her over the course of him being there. And it almost came to that point, and that just because he'd been without his wife, he had been without his, for so long, and then spending all that time with her, learning the dance and being, and having the physical representation of another person after being alone for so long in front of him, that I kind of got both the vibe you're talking about as well as starting to develop feelings for this AI. So it was kind of a mix of both.
I would just say it was on a 30-70 slant of not falling in love with her. I just think that wasn't enough. Even if it was implied, it's like, yeah, but that's not realistic. Okay, it's future. But, you know what I mean? Yeah. Unless he's a certain sort of craze. I mean, obviously, hey, in his version of the future, you could marry AIs. Sure, we've no idea what his world is. Maybe his wife wasn't. Maybe his first girlfriend was an AI in a space freighter that had a pop out body like Andromeda. Hey, fine. But you know what I mean? Like, I didn't. What if time was implied? Like, you know how when Tom Hanks jumps to now he's been there for years, any crazy thing he does, you understand. Whereas it wasn't quite, because I got the sense, like, say, weeks maybe. But we all take different things from it. But
yeah, like I said, I kind of had the feeling of a month or more, maybe a month, maybe 2 at the most. Not too long, but
enough to go through the food synthesizer, but not like get crazy.
Yes. I love your OCSID shirt, Captain Foley. Where can I buy it? That's just because I'm capturing Skype, and it's backwards on Skype, but it says disco, trust me.
I see it as fine.
You see it fine, yes. You would.
It's great. Everyone trusts him. It's wonderful.
There's always time for a temporal episode. Oy. But yeah, even the ending where she makes him the gold suit, and again that ties in with the whole Odysseus and the golden suit. They're taking that original story and it worked, and it's been a classic for this long for multiple reasons. So that's why I think we really enjoy it. But does it fit in Star Trek? As for the reasons we pointed out, really not so much. Hopefully we get answers. That's all I'm concerned about. And like you said, this can't be required viewing because not everybody can see this or will take the time to see this when it becomes available, let's say, on a DVD box set or whatever. So they can't start season 2 assuming you know everything that's happened here. So there needs to be an explanation.
Is it even fair to wiki this, to put it on the memory alpha? Because then it's like, well, okay, yes, the minimum amount of subscribers. I mean, more people have Netflix. More people have watched Trek on Netflix than have CBS All Access. I guarantee you. So it's comparatively, it's a small viewer base, and now that they have All Access now for Trek is super small now. I bet the uptake just for these shorts was very small relative to the, okay, when season 2 comes out, maybe it'll get a lot bigger, but not. Why would you do each month? Why not wait for season 2 to start and then get it and then watch all 4 in 1 hour? Watch an hour before the new episode.
Yeah. Hello, Matthew Lally. He said this is great to catch you guys live for the first time. So welcome. Hopefully we're not disappointing you.
Well,
yeah, I've had a bad few days. It's just some weird online stuff, and I'm kind of beating myself up lately. So I appreciate all the well wishes and stuff, guys.
But we're having fun right now.
We are, absolutely. Got my mind off of things, as Samuel tends to do.
Yes. Well, we've said this so many times, pretty much every single time. We call out the good and the bad. how few negative things have we said about this episode?
Very little. We just have unanswered questions, which aren't
Yeah.
criticisms per se.
Yeah.
Because they can still be answered at some point.
Yeah, and they're not, even if you don't, they're not bad questions, because the way, once you jump something to the super future, super past, it really does change the ball game. I think you can't not like this episode. It's just not a like, if you show this to a non-Star Trek fan, they would not be a fan of Star Trek after this. They'd be a fan of this dude.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they wouldn't be Star Trek.
And that being said, the actor that, I forget his name offhand, but he did a fantastic job in this. Like, I am looking forward to seeing more of this character, because he did such a great job. So bravo to him. Also, the voice of the computer. We need more of her.
You know what we're probably gonna have?
What?
We're probably gonna have a new crew member in engineering in season 2 that'll be the actress that did the voiceover. That she then modeled the voiceover.
And she's working on a new AI for ship systems.
Yeah. Daystrom's daughter.
Ooh. Sure. Or, I mean,
Or his
Daystrom's sister?
Yeah. The Section 31 sister that we never knew he had, that in a few years develops the M5.
And that's the other thing. What's with this AI? When did it get installed? Why is it not fleet-wide later?
Well, no, I just took it as exactly as the Enterprise is. I mean, if you ask the Enterprise D complicated questions, it'll give you complicated answers. It's an AI. It can register. It's just more limited. I just took it as, this is the ship's main computer. It just talked to itself over hundreds of years, and then evolved. I didn't take it as an AI. It's as much of an AI as any ship would have to be to do that many systems. You couldn't be a 1-0. Have to be something intelligent in terms of the pathwayness. So I just took it as the systems of the Discovery. It wasn't anything special. Because Kirk talked to the Enterprise in TOS.
Mm-hmm.
It's just much more simple.
Yeah. Well, they're having a chat in the chat here.
Okay.
About Doomcock, actually. How he gets a little carried away with full-on hate for Star Trek Discovery.
Yep.
I'd agree.
We try and be balanced.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Have you watched other reviews? What have other people said about this then in the YouTube community, as I've not seen any?
On this? No, I haven't really. I've got Laura's view. I've got Anti-Trekker's view.
And what do they think then?
Anti-Trekker hated it. I don't quite understand why, for a lot of the unanswered questions we talked about. Laura liked it. Laura thought it was really well done, and kind of on the same boat as us as far as it's a good, good cinematography, good storytelling, good acting. There's really not much to not like. It's just, it doesn't necessarily need to be Star Trek. It could have been its own piece and been beautiful. It could have been set in any sci-fi franchise and been fine, So yeah, I haven't really watched many reviews because I didn't want to get tainted by anything. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I just thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? In the chat, just put whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, and feel free to ask questions and stuff.
And give us like an out of 10. I'd be interested to see what you guys think. Out of 10 for this episode. And what do you give us out of 10? Okay. 3 different numbers.
Okay.
Out of 10 for quality of short. Out of 10 for quality of Discovery episode. And out of 10 for quality of Star Trek content.
Ooh. So quality of short, I'd put as a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It was a great standalone piece.
I would agree. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Best out of Discovery.
Probably a 9 as well. 8, 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8.5, 8.5.
We'll average out 8.5. Yep.
Yeah, and as for Star Trek, again, I don't want to go on record as saying it's as good as, The City on the Edge of Forever, but it is, because it's classic storytelling just done within the Star Trek universe. So
solid 6.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's Star Trek in name only, but as is lots of Star Trek.
If it had been a full hour and would have got some answers to some questions, like who was the captain at the time that was told to wait for 1,000 years, things like that, or even where they are in relation to the galaxy. If we had a few answers and an hour long, it could definitely raise higher on that list for the Star Trek episodes. But considering everything just left so vague, and it's just basically a retelling of Odysseus, his journey to this island, it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah.
And people are actually very much agreeing with us in terms of their numbers.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Almost identical, which is brilliant. Quality of AI avoids 100 out of 10.
Yes, I agree.
So would you hire that actress just to replace your Siri?
I would hire that actress to dub over Tilly's voice. So you got the best of both worlds. Pardon the pun. No, I'm just kidding. I just want audiobooks by her, to be honest.
Yeah. Or yeah. So okay, I loved what you're implying there without necessarily knowing. How would we then write this as a full Discovery hour? You sort of gave an inclination there, but give me an actual plot. If this was if this was meant to be a season, well, okay, this was meant to be the season 2 opener, say. What do you think you do? Because I have a couple of ideas just from what you were saying. Some things sprung to mind.
Well, I'm not a storyteller or a scriptwriter really like you are, so I don't know. I would just pad this out with, like I said, Captain Lorca told me to wait here for 1,000 years, and be like, Lorca? Wait a minute. Does he come back? Is there a prime? That would open more questions, but still answer something. You know what I mean? Or Captain Tilly would be awesome, because she said she wants to be a captain at some point, or she will be. But something like that. Just fill in more of the answers and pad it a little bit with a little more information. I don't know. You got great ideas, so you go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah. And do super chat, guys, while I'm ranting and let me know what you think. So how about this? Same intro, but we see a TMP refitted Discovery.
Yep.
And it's Admiral Kirk that told them to stop.
Admiral Kirk.
Which is a very specific point in the timeline. Very specific.
Okay.
That sets up some very specific maybes. And also 1,000 years is more easy to grasp. Same base story. But the crew member found the Discovery, but the nebula itself, it's drifted. Over the hundreds of years, it lost impulse control, it drifted, thinking it was stable, into a nebula where it got stuck, and it can't do anything, but obviously something found it. And a crew member, or a person, did find Discovery, and it was a TNG or something. It was just someone from the future as well, that was trying to find this ship. Maybe they thought a descendant was on it, blah, blah, blah. So it's interesting, multiple era association. But its mission is still, it was mothballed from Discovery timeline, but then they needed it in the future, which creates a new risk, so they know about it. And then this person, this craft awakens this other crew member, so which have a bounce back as well. And the computer's still a really good computer, because why not? But it's actually got a second person to deal with, and it's probably a descendant of a Discovery character, like a Burnham or a whoever. And then it's still in the future, so now they've got to get back, but they don't know how to, and then the ship is damaged but not correct, and you learn really weird canonical changes. But it turns out the ship is actually damaged, and you get a bit of a horror aspect, because the ship has been corrupted over years and years. Information, if you can imagine a big isolinear, list lineup of chips, and some are green, some should be red for disabled, some are yellow because they're fluctuatingly broken, and so lots of her data is wrong, and that gives you some really fun canon things. So I say, sorry, Craft, your family died in the Andorian invasion of Earth. What? Yeah, happened 5 years after you left. What? It's like, what? Some weird stuff that would be fun for the fans. And at the end, they've got to jump back in time or send a message back in time via Discovery, the Spore drive. So they have to use last of its power reserves to self-destruct, which allows you to send a signal via the Spore network back to the Spore drive. It's meant to be to itself in TMP, but it jumps back further into during Discovery version of Discovery, which then alters the timeline. and causes a proper Discoveryverse split.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that message goes back into Stamets working on the very first Spore drive before there was a timeline split. That caused a timeline split, which creates the Discovery design we know, which creates a Discoveryverse. Why are you laughing?
We wanted to rewrite an episode, not the whole timeline. I love how you do that.
I'm doing all the clever things.
Just at the end of the episode, have him come back going, my wife and family are dead. Let's see if we can find you your crew. And then, that's the end of the episode. Where he's working with the ship now to go back in time, maybe 1,000 years, find out what the orders were or why or something.
Yeah,
I love. Yeah, you go right off and fix the timeline, which is what we like to do on Trekyards. But for an episode, damn.
What do you think of my idea, though?
No, it's great. I do love it. You come up with some really good stuff. You really do for fixing things. And Dr. Normal puts in $10 for the super chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sending pre-holiday cheer. I've been holding out to sign up for all access until we see how the second season officially starts. Thoughts? I mean, to each their own. I get to see this stuff for free, so I don't have to think about that, whether I want to pay for this or not. I'm sure I would, because I am a Star Trek fan, all Star Trek. Plus, it's kind of our business to know. So I would be paying for it if I had to. Very fortunately for me in Canada, it's on the Space Network, so it's free. And I just PVR it, or DVR it, I guess, and can watch it at my discretion, so...
Yeah, and Netflix here as well, so...
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to see how it starts, too. We've talked about this, too, whether this whole Enterprise Captain Pike thing is going to be 4 or 5 episodes, or whether it's going to be a whole season arc. I'm hoping it's not a whole season arc. I really am. 4 episodes would be perfect, and then move on to something else. To drag this Captain Pike thing over the whole season, I think, is a disservice to Discovery, because it's Discovery. It's not the Enterprise Captain Pike show.
But Discovery is the ship. The storyline of Discovery Season 1 is wrapped. There is not anything of Season 1 left, unless you reintroduce... Oh, look, they're back. But, Lorca is dead. Prime Lorca is for all intents and purposes, dead. You got Giorgio, but Mirror Giorgio was not... She was a spy product of Season 1. She wasn't the point of Season 1. Even bringing her in was not we know what we're going to do with Giorgio in Season 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So by... and even the Spore drive can't be a thing anymore. So the concept of Season 1 they've already abandoned because Brian Fuller's gone. So why not it be about this crew about God knows what the hell? Why not have Pike be in charge of Discovery for a year, leading into him then being his incident later on? Because Discovery needs a captain. They're going to go get a captain, but Pike's way more qualified, I'm sure. He had one of the 12 constitutions. He's far more qualified, because he's more qualified. So I'm fine with him being in charge for an entire season, because that doesn't mean anything beyond it's a captain that's more qualified. Cool. The Enterprise itself is sort of irrelevant at that point, especially if it's under repair. If it needs a year of repair or refit, what if it's going off to be refitted?
Well, that's what I was talking about, this whole storyline with going to find Spock. I don't want to last a whole season. I want this to be wrapped up in 4 episodes. And
but it's not...
And if Pike stays on as captain of the Discovery, because they were on their way to Vulcan to pick up the new captain, if something happens with that, I don't mind Pike being the captain for a season. But then get rid of him, or have him get. Yeah. Well,
but it's not the story of Spock. It's the story of the angels, of the angel beings. He's just a stepping stone. He's already further down that chain of events. So we'll probably see him as of episode 6. Midway, he'll be the season end, mid-season break, cool, and then he'll be part of the crew, or be in a coma, or run away, or something. That's why it's different short. I'm talking about Calypso. It depends what the season is trying to do, because that's the interesting thing about television. If you're getting renewed, right, are you trying to make a great season of television? Are you trying to make a show that might last 10 years? Are you trying to make a really cool, wrapped-up piece that then you go, okay, shit, you got to reset again and make a new thing? Are you trying to create good character pieces that you can last for years? Are you just trying to create an action romp that you'll enjoy that time? Are you trying to create some links to a universe or not? So once they got renewed, Brian Fuller had a plan. They sort of abandoned it and swapped it over something else, and it kind of ruined the pace a bit. They got to reset again, but they swapped the team a third of the way through. Why are they making season 2? It's to make money.
Yeah.
What's the best way they can make money? Who knows at this point? Who knows? So what is the point of this season? Is it for the characters? Is it just to milk money out of the fans because Spock look is Spock? Normally, like I'm watching Supernatural right now, and it's about the characters. It's about them dealing with stuff. And you just invent new things to deal with. That's the point. Enterprise is about them exploring, finding new things and dealing with that, learning more about the human race. DS9 was about dealing with things that came to the station and the people. Voyager was about getting home. TNG was about this crew exploring. TOS, same thing. That's what Trek tends to be. Star Wars, it's about the Skywalker family and the Sith. They're the battle. BSG about finding, surviving, living one more day. What's Discovery Season 2's point? It's not exploration. It's about this angel plot. Well, is it going to be only about that? Is that going to be a season arc? Is it going to be relevant to Canon? Is it going to be even important? Is it going to be a red herring? Is it going to be Section 31? Is it going to be,
It's going to be all those things.
Yeah. Speaking of, I know you didn't necessarily want to report on it, but then Trek movie, was it you? Well, someone said that shouldn't report on it, but the Giorgio show, because now it's been reported by Trek Core and stuff, so the more legit, the bigger source, the bigger shows, bigger sources. I mean, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. Just the fact that Section 31 is so prevalent now kind of pisses me off. Section 31 was something that was kind of introduced in Deep Space Nine and kind of just and then got retroactively placed in Enterprise. And no, I don't think it was really around. They said they've been around since the beginning of the Federation Charter or whatever. But it's so prevalent now, and everything's like, oh, maybe it's Section 31. Maybe it's Section 31. It's like kind of annoying. If they do it right, I don't have a problem with it, as usual. I just don't think they're going to do it right. And to pull in her specifically into Section 31, a mirror universe Empress, is a stupid idea. Unless they really have a rein on her or something they can hold over her. Because she's got enough knowledge and enough information in her head about the mirror universe. If she gets enough technology or whatever from Section 31 or has access to it, who knows whether she's going to get back there or pull people from her over here. It's just a stupid position to put her in my opinion. They should have kept her kind of under lock and key because she's dangerous.
Or just shoot her.
That too.
Just actually one just shoot her. I mean, she's a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, we did say. Now, I always want to recognize what we've said. We've said before Discovery, during Discovery, as it was unfolding, especially episode 2 or 3. Sorry, Section 31 show, interesting idea. But you would want it to be heroes within Section 31 that have to do more grey things. Mm-hmm. You really don't want to follow a mass murdering genocidal maniac that took over a galactic empire, has killed trillions, that cannot be trusted, has no positive goals, eats Kelpians. That's as one-dimensional a murderous thing as possible. Now, she's a great character as a bring-back, but she's got her role. The role is not as a show lead.
Yeah.
Unless she's like... Okay, you haven't seen Stargate, but at the end, one of the later seasons, there's an interesting bit where I'm going to give very vague, but a more villainous character is, and again, the guys that know the storyline, please don't tell Stuart, because I'm trying to be overly vague, but just give you a sense of what's happening. It's just fun. A sort of villain is psychically linked to a hero, so if one dies, the other dies. And they can't be very far from each other. So suddenly, they're forced to work together because they have to. So if Giorgio was then linked to a good Section 31 officer, and if you hurt me, you die. If you try and kill me, then okay, you'd force her to be more useful. But the whole Giorgio was the funnest she's ever been when she was being bad. So you'd also lose that. So I don't know how a Mirror Giorgio show would work really. Okay, as like a 6-episode miniseries.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Like a single big mission, awesome, where she dies at the end. but in a heroic
or
way.
or she gets herself back to the mirror universe.
Yeah. But in doing so, she accidentally does something which is a big part of season 2. Sure, that's fun, but not like a question 7 seasons of watching. Put it this way, Gene would not approve. I don't think Rick Berman would approve either, or Brandon Berger, or Ron Moore. I think none of them would say, let's make a Mirror Universe Emperor series.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's fun in context. Having a Mirror Universe show in the Mirror Universe is great. It's in context. Section 31 show, but good guys doing... Because Batman, right? Batman does good things, but in bad ways. But you root for him, you know? When he breaks a guy's back, when he punches a guy to almost death to get information to save a child, that guy's in hospital for 6 months.
That's
he really ruined his life. Yeah, it's you don't think, you know, in Batman v Superman where he kills 9 people without thinking, but they're not really dead. You know, he killed them all. Or he runs over a guy with his car. Oh, he survived. No, he didn't. Batman's a hero. Yeah, but he's killing and hurting and maiming, or Green Arrow. He puts 8 people in hospital every single week from an arrow to the chest. Like,
there's going to be a special ward in the hospital for just arrow wounds.
Yes, there is. I mean, we still glorify these villainous heroes. I mean, Deadpool. I mean, he shoots people for breakfast. It's like, you delivered my thing wrong, boom. But it's funny. So you can do that in context, but you know, you wouldn't want to see that as necessarily the. Even a Deadpool TV show wouldn't quite work. But he's also does good things for good reasons. Just some bad thrown in as well.
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't want to see a Thanos TV show.
No, not really.
We just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Might be interesting. It's good to see. Well, the movie was damn amazing, but it doesn't quite work for a thing.
Well, somebody in the chat there made an interesting point. He said, "Yeah, so she's basically Hitler that ate Jews. So let's give her her own show." I mean. Yep, that pretty much sums it up, and that's why I don't feel very great about it, because she's killed a lot of innocent people in her universe. Why would Section 31 want her? I know she has information from that universe that they could find useful, but make her an operative with access to sensitive information as well as technology, it's not a great idea. So I don't know how they're going to handle it.
Although, if you think that she was on Kronos still, so she's more dangerous on Kronos than she is with you, because what if she gets captured by Klingons? She could tear down everything we know. So I guess either leave her on Kronos to possibly get captured, or make her an agent and kill her at your time of her choosing.
They're gonna. Oh, it's awful. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Ugh. Okay, I'll say it. God damn it. Section 31's gonna set her up in a wig shop on Kronos, give all the Klingons hair. That's her job. And while she's doing that to the high dignitaries and council chamber members, she's gonna get information from them, because she's gonna talk to them and possibly eat their offspring, eat their children in case they.
Well, she can talk like them. She can relate. You know, I've killed 7 people today. I know, right? I killed 14 on Wednesday. In a different life, though. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, so if it's done properly, if it's done well, fine, no problem. I just the point of a covert organization is to be covert and not talked about or whispered about. And it's now splattered all over Star Trek everywhere you look. It's Section 31. Is that Section 31? What if Section 31 had a ship? Blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, that's fine. I like that it was kind of mentioned in Deep Space Nine. It's first you'd heard of it. It's like, ooh. And you get introduced to Sloane, and you find out exactly how far it reaches and how far back. That's really cool. But then all of a sudden Enterprise comes along and, oh, by the way, Reed's been worked for Section 31. Like, stop.
Well, it's a different Section 31, though. You know, it's
oh, for sure, but now it's everywhere.
It's a concept. It's the untapped secret. It's the justification to have dark Trek, because it already exists in one way.
I'm surprised they didn't go back and for Assignment Earth just make Gary 7 a Section 31 operative instead. Because I mean, that's what their mission would be, to make sure that the timeline. Well, that'd be the time cops, but.
Well,
that would be a more interesting show to me, is the Time Police from Voyager than Section 31, to be honest.
But Stuart, what about the Section 31 agents on Relativity?
That we don't know about because they're undercover.
That'd be kind of cool.
Dun dun dun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Section 31 versus the Psi Corps from Babylon 5. That opens up some intriguing possibilities, I guess.
Did you actually ever finish?
Almost finished. Almost finished.
Where are you at to now?
Season 4, almost halfway through.
Okay, so you haven't finished the war then?
No, not yet.
Okay. Enjoy it while it lasts, because season 5 is
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because that's the thing. They rushed through the last 2 seasons in one season, but every single moment of season 4 has a real distinct point. There's not a wasted second. So those last like 10 are like, jeez. That's well written, crafted story that's a little bit rushed, but not really. Yeah. Cobra Khan. NCC 1031. Is this a subtle hint? No, not whatsoever. He liked Halloween, so he told to make it Halloween, even if it didn't fit the timeline of when it was built. But
yeah, Brian Fuller was a fan of Halloween, so it's October 31st.
Yep. Didn't care. Should have made it 1131. That would be much better.
Yeah, but of course that gets retroed in to be Section 31.
Because that's not a hint that everyone will think. No, I mentioned Section 31 and Convergence, but in the context, there's a moment where I say, Section 31, you've all heard of it, and they shuffle their feet. It's like, okay, people have heard the term at this point. Like, captains, they sort of have a sense, but it doesn't mean they know what it is, you know?
Yeah. I'm just laughing at a super chat. Chive Bacon puts in $5. Thank you very much, Chive. He says, and are you also almost finished with that video of a certain destroyer-class ship? I would say yes, because, what was, like 3 or 4 days ago, I went through and did a final editing, touch-up, polishing. So, it's coming! Dun, dun, dun!
So we have next week's episode already booked, next Saturday. So
Which is?
You tell us, Stuart.
Next Saturday is Anti-Trekker will be joining us to talk about the Borg. So anybody that's on here from Anti-Trekker's thing, tell him next Saturday is part 1 of his discussion about the Borg with us, and then the following Saturday will be part 2, if it's broken up into 2 parts. I'm not sure if it's going to be yet, because it hasn't been edited, but it was long enough, it probably justified it. But if Samuel cuts out all of Anti-Trekker's good points and just talks about, and just includes our good points, then it'll be a 1-parter. So there you go. Yes, the Saladin class episode, Saladin, however you want to pronounce it, is coming out very soon. So probably in
either end of November, first week of December, basically.
Yeah. There you go.
Basically. We have a cool Discovery-based episode coming out, which I'm really excited. But I haven't. It was going to come out, but then you reminded me that we had a Borg episode, Borg Ships Part 2. So I was like, yay!
Yeah.
Good. That was like one of our very last buffered ones. So I'm glad we had that.
And Derek Rankin says, been playing Starfleet Command Volume 2 now. Addicted. Thanks, Captain Foley. And Derek's going to help me get it running on my PC. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do that. I've been too busy doing other stuff. So, Derek, just bear with me. We'll get it going.
How cool is that, though, that you've now got ways of playing all these things that relatively...
Now I want to install like Bridge Commander and play that and a whole bunch of other stuff.
That's always worked. That's always worked on 10 with Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sins of the Solar Empire, the Armada 3, I need to reinstall that because it was on the laptop. You helped me install it there with the mod.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do it on here. And we need to play a game. People have wanted us to play games against each other. So
I think it's one of those games that you should just play the campaign for a bit, learn the way the game is played.
Yeah,
because it is seriously better than all those 3 games, because just the scope and the strategic. I mean, there is little. Too. Well, yeah, the graphics certainly. Max did a great job with his team, Max and Connor and the whole team. But yes, there's less one-on-one ship, but you actually have to develop fleets and understand things. And I mean, it's certainly very satisfying to throw, 19 Mirandas at a fleet and at some point, again, we'll make them if you guys like them, and we can always do a live super chat, because that'd be certainly fun to do a live super chat live with you, either versus or something else. That'd be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one where you actually play against the Borg, and the Borg are stupidly overpowered. That's the point. and you always lose because like a cube is like more HP than 3 star bases in the game, and star bases are like the biggest thing you can singly build. Yeah, and I tell you, they have lots of great random encounters in it, including the whale probe.
See, that's cool. I need to play this. I really do.
I need to play it a lot to get those things, but I got that only once, and I didn't know what was happening. I just suddenly didn't get advanced. I just suddenly didn't get the ships I needed. I went back. It's like, oh, this is bad. It was my homeworld too, because they go to your homeworld. And I was like, oh no, all my good ships were there, weren't working, and it just sort of sits there. And so I was like, well, crap. So I brought my next fleet in to try and take it out, thinking, okay, fine. TNG ships will be fine, right? Nope, lost all those ships. And then I brought some steam runners. I had 3 steam runners. They had long range torpedoes, so I'm firing 3 steam runner quantums or photons. I'm like, this is not going to work. So I had to quit the game. I was like, I dedicated a lot of my resources to make my home world quite powerful, but he wouldn't leave. Damn that whale probe. There are humpbacks there, guys. Come on, because you can't stop him per se. You can blow him up with a lot of resources, but that'd be fun. Yes.
Yeah. Patrick O'Connell just puts in $5. What if in the Picard show, Jean-Luc Picard must work to fight to end Section 31 before they do something absolutely horrific to save the Federation? That's actually fantastic. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it.
I am down for that. That could play out very well. Yeah.
A good ideal show, fighting for the ideals of the Federation, but you get to dip into really dark stuff because that's what you're fighting against. Yeah, I really dig it, actually. That's awesome. It depends. Although, did you hear that the Picard show says they are starting to film in April?
Yeah, and they're also filming in Canada, in Toronto, same as Discovery, so they're going to be right next door to me. So,
well, yeah, they built a soundstage. They bought out a
warehouse.
Yeah. The amount of Trek content we do, I'd love to be involved in that in some way, to talk about them directly or something. I hope that, because they knew Discovery going, people were going to have negative fan backlash because of the change in designs and stuff. Like, they knew that going in, but if they're doing the next one properly, hopefully they're more open. Because CBS really closed down when it came to Discovery. What press interviews and stuff. It'd be really great to have the chance to look at that stuff more and formally. Because hopefully, if they think people are going to embrace it more, they'll be more positive in letting people actually talk to them and stuff.
Yeah. Car Galaxy Studios, yes, they are filming the Picard series in Toronto, just so you know. Stuart, we have to try to get a tour. Absolutely. We will definitely try to get a tour of the sets. Even Discovery would be fun.
I would love, honestly, my most biggest thing. Wow, my words. I would love, because we've both been on several TOS sets.
Yes.
So we know exactly the feel of the scale. And it was bigger than I think we both thought. Slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been on the TNG, 2 different TNG sets, and it's smaller than you think. I thought. I really would love to be on the Discovery Bridge and get a sense of, this is massive, or, this is smaller than you think, because lenses make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling the Discovery Bridge is smaller than we think. It looks huge the way they film it.
Why would you waste so much space on a bridge that you
don't
use?
It's funny because when this one zooms in on the bridge in the one scene, the thought that went through my mind is the TNG bridge and the TOS bridge are the same size. So I thought in my head, is this thing the same size? Because looking at the outside of the ship in relation to the people that are in the window, it's like, it's not super big. I think it just might be the layout. Because it's the same thing with the TNG bridge. It's the same dimensions as the original bridge set, just with the way the panels and consoles are in TOS, it feels more enclosed. It's not as wide open. And I think with the way the Discovery is set up, it could be roughly the same size, which would be cool. But I don't know if that's the case.
Again, I don't think they're clever enough to use that consistency. And if the ship is upscaled by 30%, it at least should be 30% bigger. A bridge. I mean, yeah, biggerist.
Biggerist.
Heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. We speak good. We make Trekyards go, and you'll watch Trekyards for our go.
Oh man, yes.
But I do think we should do the cookie show with being food. That'd be a whole separate thing.
Chocolate chip yards.
Because I mean, just take a road trip down to America, go to a Walmart, buy every single brand of cookie.
I'm down. That should be live. Just you and I taste testing different cookies. We should be together though, so it's one that when
That's
I
what
fly
I meant.
over there, yeah.
And then we can do the English broad. We can just go to Germany, just eat different German cookies. Go France, make it a thing. Worldwide tour. That's why people joined. But each episode we have a ship. Sponsored by a ship, Stuart, so it's fine. This episode of Chocolate Chip Cookie Yard, sponsored by Eagle Boss. Here's the new brand model. Back to this cookie. It's a maple leaf cookie.
Those are good, by the way.
What, the brand or the cookie?
The maple cookies.
Oh, why do we do what we do, Stuart?
Because we love it, and I hope that shows. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Because it sure isn't to pay the bills. Because we'd be screwed. But we try.
Also, TNG, DS9, and Voyager were not filmed in widescreen. That is going to affect the size and how the sets were designed. We say that, and yet all the Enterprise bridges from the movies were all built with an anamorphic in mind. Yet they're all the same size as the TOS TNG bridge, and then reused.
And they work well.
And they work well. And yes, the E bridge is bigger this way, but it's not. It's bigger, but that's also it's later in the timeline. Blah blah blah. Things. So it doesn't quite work. And I don't think it's just a design. The Voyager is quite a different bridge. That's a bigger bridge.
Yeah,
it's wider.
Yeah,
that was in 4.3. So they didn't build the bridges based on the aspect ratios. Although it's funny, I've been doing some 4.3 CG for someone, and it's interesting how filming in the TOS Enterprise in the original format it changes it. Because it is. I don't know if it's designed for that specifically, because that would feel very limiting. But it fits it so well in 4.3. It really does. It's weird. It was weird. It's nice actually. It's kind of reassuring. I don't know. Yeah.
Except that you got to be careful. They are Canadian cookies, cannabis optional. Dun dun dun! Don't get our video banned for talking about that. I actually really want a cookie. Oh. Yeah.
Why would you not want a cookie?
Right?
Should we talk about Calypso for the last little bit, Stuart? Do you think is that worth doing?
Well, I guess I love just hanging out, though.
Yeah. Would you guys have any super chat questions about Calypso, about our thoughts? Anything you want to know? But I do think it was a success for a piece of content.
Yes.
And it certainly shows this chap can write better. Writing is subjective, but there are lots of good writers out there.
God damn it.
So, I mean, it's not as if... It's kind of then strange how Discovery was written so poorly, given how many quality writers were out there. It was just, presumably, limitations what they could and couldn't do. I mean, we've obviously heard that part of the reason that the people were fired is because they were yelling at the writers and being really negative. So, if the working environment, to say, we can't do this, this, and this. But we know they were, super canony in the workroom. Can't on screen, but they were super canony in the workroom.
Yeah, no one special puts in $2. Sam is cute when his tongue trips on his teeth. There you go.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I just think he's cute all the time.
Thanks, man.
It's like my pug. It's so ugly, it's cute. It's pugly. Not saying that.
Thanks.
I was talking about the pug, not you.
So you're saying those statements are completely unrelated?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, it's often the case.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Anytime, man. So how many likes do we have on this video? I don't even know. Captain George isn't doing his job. Go like the video, guys. That helps out the algorithm.
Shout out.
Right? Rolling on floor laughing, says Derek. Well, that's what we want to entertain. Anyway, Calypso, yes, well done. Yay. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One of the best one of the best pieces of Discovery on screen so far.
Which is very much just because it was a well-told story. I mean, we've said before, and I've said a lot in my past fan film work, almost the best Star Trek story is the best story that just happens to take place in the Trek universe, because it should have a good story first, but use the trappings of Star Trek to enhance it. So if the story is about a woman who's lost her son in war, that's the story, right? That's a simple narrative that you can follow.
Hmm.
But it's an alien war, so you get the slight not us perspective. But it's a war based on the Vietnam War, say. So now you have the parallels that you can draw from. You make the you make there be an age whatever. That's the base story. It could be any sci-fi show, but then you make it about with the crew of an exploration ship. Okay, that sets the context of we don't want to deal with war. Now you've got whatever. You make them cadets. Now you've got the inexperience of war. Now you've got the Trek sense of hope that comes with being a cadet. Now you add the death of the captain, which is a trope, and now you've got the crew coming to terms with learning and then you have the canon of calling someone a Starfleet, and you bring in Admiral Nagura or someone. Now you've got the cool reference. Then you bring in them mentioning what Picard did in his old command on a similar scenario. Now you've got a cool reference there. You use familiar technology. You do all these things to bring into the Trek universe, but the story itself is this teeny little thing. And within that, you also what are you laughing at, Stuart?
I just stopped listening like literally 5 minutes ago. I just haven't been paying attention because I've been doing other things, so I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I can imagine that's quite odd then out of context.
Sorry. I was just reading the chat. Captain George is freaking out because I said he wasn't doing his job, and he's like, "You take that back fully." Fine, you're doing your job. You're doing a great job. Yay.
Okay, I'll reiterate very briefly, Stuart. I was just saying how the best
Cliff Notes
story, the best story doesn't necessarily is a good story happens to place in Trek. So you take an episode.
Perfect.
It's
Yep.
it's just about.
That's good. All right, so moving on. I get what you're trying to say. I do this to him a lot, guys. It's just we just pick at each other because we talk to each other all the damn time.
Hey, Jeffrey Golden, good point here. This story was about an unknown ship computer in an unknown time with an unknown person about an unknown war.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
strong little reference there.
And Joseph, yes, I have a lot of background noise here because that's what's called doing a live, and people are getting home from work. There's dogs running around. The children are home. During the day, it's much quieter. And if you can't deal with that, too bad. That's life. It's live. Here I am. Come at me, bro. I have a pen.
Super chat from a moment ago. Patrick O'Connell. Yeah. Commander, would you ever consider doing a series of tutorial videos on how use your various rendering programs? Yes and no. It's difficult to justify time doing things that don't pay the rent because I've got to pay the rent. And if we earned more, if fans donated more, so it wasn't as hard to pay rent, then maybe. But that's why we don't. That's why we cancel shows that weren't earning enough, because it's a silly idea to make things that actually put you in debt. You're not helping anybody, and people aren't watching them because they're not generating the money.
Yeah. I
do have to be a bit of side work just to keep up with the bills, and if I don't get, I have commitments I have to do outside of Trekyards because I got to pay the bills. Yeah. Hopefully with Discovery Season 2, that'll really boost the channel. Then hopefully, we can do less work for more money, which means more time to do content you want to see. In a perfect world, we get $3,000 on Patreon and, $500 each live, and I can live in my new apartment with a custom little room with soundproofing, and Stuart can be upstairs and have a soundproof room, and we have 4K cameras, and we're filming on DSLRs, not webcams, with proper lighting, green screen.
But it's not a perfect world.
It's not a perfect world.
And here we do our best to bring you the best we can. Yeah,
and we've upgraded so many times over the years. I've got a really great PC. We've got 4K webcams. Mark Lawrence will add, sound equipment that really made a big difference.
Yeah, these are nice. These Yeti mics, they're awesome.
Like I'd love to see Stuart spend time doing the model building, but really
the table's
cool
clear.
edited.
The table's clear for model building. Check this.
Oh. I have to check a couple of times. It's fine. Yeah, neat. Oh. Yes. Nice. Nice. Yeah, so I'd love to see, like a 2 hour live with Stuart that's done a model board, and then he edits it down. No, then he edits it down to like a 20-minute, really sleek piece of how to learn model building, because we've got the time and energy to do it. Because the channel's earning enough to make us be able to do really cool things. I could do CG tutorials, editing tutorials, do really fun videos that I'm an editing professional editor. I can do really good editing videos. We just don't get a chance to because we don't earn enough. So it's a weird cycle. If we're not supported, we can't do. If we can't do, then we don't get supported because we can't do. It's a weird one, but we would like to think what we do is really good, at least pretty good, and you like it at least.
They lost my audio. As I was saying, sorry, I had a thing. But
I still heard you.
The model table's cleared off. It's ready to go. Foley class model, 1/1000 scale. So
yeah,
you heard what Samuel was talking about, so you know what we were talking about. But yeah, you guys stay tuned. This is cleared off now, so I can have 2 cameras set up, one on the table, one on me, and I can chat with you guys and answer questions while I'm doing stuff during the live, and I can also edit those down to more succinct. I want to do, as I said with my Eagle Moss reviews, I want to do an Eagle Moss repair series where a lot of people will get their Eagle Moss ships that are damaged when they arrive, or their things are bent or warped. How to fix those without messing up your model. That's something that people have asked for, and I think it would be a really interesting series. So, yes.
Yeah. Cool. Makes sense to me.
Yes.
So we're almost at the end here, so shall we try and get another $10? Close out on $10 for 10 minutes. So whatever, guys, a final question. Who will be the final question of this live that will get the double bonus cookie of pride?
And I apologize for my audio going out. That was my mistake.
Did you press the button?
Not really. I clicked it by accident when I was doing something else. You could hear me because you're on Skype, so I didn't know there was a problem.
So you didn't mute it? Because I was
not on Skype. I muted the OBS one by accident.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Slash. It's a okay.
Right.
Okie doke.
Scott says, "Must be a buzz to have your own models. So cool." Yep.
I'm jazzed for you.
I'll show you some of the detail while we're waiting. If anybody wants to super chat, that'd be cool. But if not, that's fine too. So here's the detail on it. Yeah.
He's nice.
Very nice.
And I've obviously got. Oh yeah.
You play with your secondary home.
Yes. Yeah, Sylvia's home, guys.
Hi, Sylvia.
Samuel says hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Samuel.
And the world. The world is watching.
Hi, world.
Oh, mention we're talking about Vala and Daniel in season 9.
No, it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Say we're talking about Vala and Daniel in season 9.
Valia?
But Stu doesn't know about it. Vala.
Vala and Daniel in season 9. He was talking about earlier, just so you know.
But Stu doesn't know anything about it yet.
I do kind of, but.
Well.
Cute.
Oh, they're so cute.
She's also a sassy bitch, so that's also a bonus. And I'm kind of a sassy bitch, so I can relate.
There you go. Sass. I'm excited to have a Horizon model. That'd be fun to see that in reality. I've never held my own ship, so.
Well, I know people that can make that a reality, as you can see, so.
Yeah.
And don't worry, guys. You guys will be able to get this model as well. When the time is right, I'll let you know how to get it. But there it is, Foley class.
And is it fair to say we have relatively coming-ish soon plans to get some proper Foley prints and proper Foley artwork coming?
100% yes.
Yes. In the sooner rather than later term. Very excited about working with you on. Because just some of the smaller details I'd love to talk to you on, because, I'd love to, up detail the ball turrets. Little things that are you wouldn't necessarily think to do it.
Yeah.
But let's.
Well, this one, the 3D model for this kit was upscaled greatly. They added a lot of detail for this.
Mm-hmm.
However, they put all the time and effort into it. They kept the model, unfortunately, the 3D model. which
Yeah.
kind of sucks. They didn't give it to me, but but we'll get another one made so I can get some nice Samuel-esque cinematic flybys and stuff. So,
Like, do you want a purple nebula today or a blue nebula today, or?
mm-hmm.
And then we. I mean, I am excited legitimately to do the classic print styles we've got with all the celebrities we've done, and we've got those in the bank. But for Horizon and for Foley, be a lot of fun, and it might be nice to do some like Trekyards Originals one at some point, like send them out to our friends.
No one special. Just put in $2. Make the Admiral
you.
blow a kiss.
Oh well.
I'm in my pajamas.
She's in her pajamas.
And they are gross, trashy pajamas.
No, they're not.
How about just a
peek your head
wave?
around here real quick.
A little wave.
He paid $2 for
I'm a cheap whore.
not as cheap as me.
Okay, hi. Where's the camera? Which camera am I looking at? Those are so many. Mwah! Okay, now I'm going back.
There you go.
Yay. Stop sneezing on me, you stupid dog.
Anyway, I'll be getting one when they're available. Good, Scott. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing other people build my ship.
That sounds...
And because there's a bunch
Yeah.
of different decal options in there, and I'd love for people to add their own spin to it. Although don't make it spin like Discovery. Because
Oh, we should have Spore Drive Foley refit.
Spore Drive the Foley refit. Yes. The top nacelle, the third nacelle spins like a helicopter. So just yeah.
So Spore Drive refit then. It doesn't have to be the whole source, it just be one nacelle. Yeah, man. That's what we need. More spinning.
Now wait, you have commercial models. Yes, they're now available. But they're having some issues with some things, so I can't give you the information yet, but stay tuned. Car Galaxy Studios puts in $5 Canadian because it's awesome. Egomos
Thank you.
subscription. If I subscribe tomorrow, do I still eventually get all the ships or missed out on older ones? Also, premium over standard worth it. Oh, Premier or standard? Well, first of all, Canadian people, it's all available in Canada now. Finally, thank God, Eagle Moss is available here. So yes, but Samuel, what about the standard or the premium? I don't know the difference.
Well, the XLs is what it means.
Oh,
And you've reviewed more than I have, actually.
yeah. You don't have to. You don't need a subscription for anything really. You can click the link in our videos and head over there and just shop, pick what you want. If it's in stock, throw it in your cart. Some of the XLs are out of stock and they run out pretty quick when they do get replenished. But you can use the discount code Trekyards when you check out to save some money. You save 15%.
Hell of a discount.
Yeah, you save 15% on orders of $50 or more. It doesn't apply to all the XL models, unfortunately. There's a few that it doesn't apply to, but
Probably the newest and stuff.
yeah.
I'm guessing there's. It's interesting that some XLs are literal upsizes of the old ones with some of the same flaws. Some are sort of enhanced versions. I think the Connie is a good one, but it had to be.
Yeah.
Then Enterprise B is probably good high detail. The Ambassador's doing pretty well. The XLs are not the best big models you can get. A lot of Diamond Select ones are still better and cheaper, but then also some die cast with just plastic for some of the lights and sounds. So I would say the reason I like Eagle Moss is because they have done all of the ships that we know and love, and I've wanted a blah, 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 blah ship. I've got one because of Eagle Moss. That's really cool.
is that,
I
one of the new Klingon ships? The
subtly translates to where the hell's my hair?
Oh, yes. Nice.
Thank you. I'm funny occasionally. No, so that's why I like the collection, because there's a chance to. I wasn't interested, ironically, in like Galaxy class. It's okay, great, but getting the Quantum Time ship, that's really cool. And seeing the renders, I now know these ships really well, so it's fun to see the differences and whatnot. And I like the collection keeps going. I really don't give a shit about lots of the ships, like the TOS Remastered. Most of them are garbage designs to me. Really bad. Some are okay. Most are not very good. It's weird they were designed that way. Whatever. They weren't the core team back. They should have got Rick back and whatever. It's a different team. But a lot of the cool one-off Enterprise are really cool. A lot of the Voyager one-offs are really cool. And you couldn't 3D print them to the same quality for the same price. You just couldn't. So So that's why they're worth it. The XLs, you pick the ship you really want if you really want it. But just like the Defiant, we both agreed, great model, still a lot of problems. But they're all kind of brilliant as like they're on your desk over there or your shelf over there.
I would say check out my reviews of them because they each have one or two issues with them, and we're not afraid to call those out whether they're sponsors of us or not.
Well, they know
that's the point of a review.
Problem.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully. They know their problems. It's like Discovery knows they're badly written, and they know that, oh dear, we accidentally did the wrong refit bridge module, no one should buy it. Like, they know they did that. Oops.
So the subscription has or doesn't have the XLs is what Car Galaxy Studios is asking.
No. XLs are all a supplementary, you buy them.
Yeah.
Because they're the bonus to the collection. So...
Yeah. So are like the shuttle packs and stuff where you get the shuttles with the
so the core set are the small boxes, and you get a couple of free gifts which are like a Borg cube, which is the bad Borg cube, but whatever, and the Future Enterprise D, which is quite a nice one, although it's very simple. Enterprise D plaque, some simple things, still nice, but anything extra is extra because it's a different collection, sort of technically.
But you can save yourself money on that by using discount code Trekyards when you check out Avita Moss. So, by all means, click the link in our description and go visit, check out, fill up your cart, and save yourself some money. So,
and we mean fill it up because obviously the more you buy, the more you save.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish
you
I
can
had that.
You can use it each time you go as well. There's no limit on it. So,
I mean, if I was starting from scratch, I wish I would have such a good code, because I could say I want to pick my best 10 ships and say 15% off.
15% off, yeah.
Off 10 ships is over a ship free, So.
Anyway.
And some of the miniatures are amazing. Their DS9 is really good.
Yes.
And their ring ship is really good. Their JJ ships are, for the most part, really rather good because they were real models. The Discovery stuff, again, pretty good miniatures. The BSG stuff, good and bad, but again, some of the best they've ever done.
Apparently they need to make Captain Foley and Commander Cocking's action figures. I would buy those, and I would play with myself. I would also play with Commander Cocking's. If we had action figures of ourselves. But on that note... I know we do. I know. We need to do something.
We need to get ourselves printed. We do.
Hey, I would love that, to be honest. But anyway...
That would start a brand new adventure.
We're getting a lot of laughs, so that's good. On that note, then, we should probably go. Any plans for fully class TMP refit? Yes, it's in the works. So yes. But we're going to go. I think it's been over 2 hours. Thank you very much for joining us for this look at Calypso.
Final single line on Calypso?
Enjoyed it immensely. One of the best pieces of Discovery content out there. And it's fantastically well done. It falls down in a few places, but like I said, it's because it could be anything. It doesn't have to be Star Trek to be a good story. So,
yep. New writer really shows. Well directed, well acted, and I'm interested in the character. So it did what it set to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wish it was a Discovery refit or a cleverer